because if you don't have an understanding of it, how are you going to know what the right intention, right speech, right action, and what the rest are?
Can you give one example?
Not really.
Not really? Okay. Let me see here. It's better. Let's go. Yeah. Okay, so in this A4 part, list out. He put them into three main categories. First one is wisdom one, right? And this including right thoughts, or right understanding, understanding of life. Some of you work on this one, right? What do you think about that?
Oh, no, I didn't, sorry.
Oh, no.
I was about to.
Okay, that's okay. Okay, it's really important to talk about that more. Okay, why? Why so important? This is two aspects of right understanding of life. Remember, one is what we call the right understanding about secular life or conventional life or conventional means. Ultimate truth and conventional truth. We talk about that yet? Have you heard of me about? I'm talking about. Have we talked about conventional truth and ultimate truth? Okay. Okay. Conventional truth. Ultimate truth. Conventional truth has been we talk about duality. We talk things about what's happening in our life, like good, bad. Remember, like, dislike. Love, anger, and so forth. That is called conventional truth. Or it's like impermanent. Everything is impermanent. Makes sense? Nothing lasts forever. In our secular life. Makes sense? Right? Because why is this say true? Actually, remember when we talked last week about the truth here? It was true in the past, it's true now, it will be true in the future. That's what we call, in Buddhist view, the truth. Make sense? So when we talk about conventional truth again, it deals with duality, good, bad, like, dislike, understand that, impermanent, and so forth. Right? So that's what we call conventional truth. And in this conventional truth, especially this one here, right understanding, according to Buddha, we need to understand about what we call a law of cause and effect, a law of karma. Remember we talked about karma? What you do, what you get, right? Simple. You have to understand that approach. It's so simple and understandable, but sometimes we mess up too. You understand that? You see the connection of these 8 types of A4 parts after we discuss about them in detail. Okay? And in conventional truth, or in conventional sense, is we need to understand the law of karma. Why? Of course, everyone understands that law of karma, but we have to recognize it deeply. what you do, what you get. If you do good this, you receive good it, right? If you do wrong thing, you harm yourself and others. Make sense? Simple, but it's not easy to practice. Make sense? So that ritual is right understanding about life in all aspects of life. Make sense? Like if you do business, right? As much as you understand about law of karma, well, you know, you can compete with other people, but don't do the dirty scam to treat people to get more money from your business. You understand that? Otherwise, you harm other in the present, but you will harm yourself in the future too. Right? So that's what I'm saying. You understand that now? And relate to right understand about the ultimate truth. According to Buddhist view, just follow the four noble truths. Understanding about the suffering, remember? Physical and mental suffering. The root of suffering, anger, craving, and stupidity. That's the second one. And the third is everything is impermanent. Suffering can transform to happiness if we have ability, if we know how to transform them. And the last one is so that is right understanding of first one, right understanding of secular life, they say that. Make sense? And this based on this conventional truth in our karma. It exists everywhere. Whether whether Buddha mentioned or not, it's still there. Right? Whether you follow different traditions, it's still there. Right? No one can rescue you. If you commit crimes, you have to pay for that debt, in a sense. But in the right understanding of the ultimate truth, that is the Buddhist view. You understand that? The Buddhist view of life. Try to practice so that you can transform your mind from the suffering one into the happiness one. From staying in samsara, cycle of rebirth, you can reach the nirvana and so forth. So in these two aspects, make sense now? Is that clear? Okay. All right. So last one. Now, and we'll come back again. Okay. So basically, the only thing you may need to remember is love. And based upon that, let's move to right understanding, right intention. Right intention. Some of you, probably at least a couple of you know like this. Hey, yeah, please.
Right intention is also in the wisdom category of the Eightfold Path, and it's also I read a couple other translations as like right thought or right like right commitment almost.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
That's why. And it was talking about as sort of the projecting your speech or your thoughts so that you think in accordance to the Eightfold Path, don't think. And also that you commit yourself in every moment to like right view and is maintained through like right mindfulness.
Right. Okay. Right understanding or simply to right view. It's simple.
Yeah.
So, within right intention, what type of right intention do you have?
Like, or if, like earlier today, when I was, I was in another class and I was really sleepy, and the professor was doing a lecture, but I really needed to pay attention, so I had to really focus on focusing rather than my desire to sleep and not pay attention. So it was sort of why.
Yeah, I saw too that the right intention, Buddha explains the right intention as a threefold: the intention of free communication, the intention of goodwill, and the intention of harmlessness,
Okay, that's right.
governed by desire, ill will, and harmfulness.
That's right. So So right intention is related to goodwill, right? Not goodwill store. Right? Harmfulness,
Harmlessness
right?
and, yeah, we're gonna.
What is it?
Harmlessness.
Harmlessness. Harmlessness and
Reunification.
It
says I can't
renunciation.
say it right. There you go. Yeah.
Renunciation. Okay, that's what is more confusion, but
Right.
we discuss about that. Anyway, so some of you, this is one too, right? Okay, so why is so important that we have to have the right one? And look at this here. Look at the right. See that? What's wrong? What's wrong with the wrong one? Why? What's wrong with the wrong one? For example, if you have the wrong understanding about life, then you have wrong understanding about law of karma, what happens? You have to understand the two aspects, right? So that we can put it in practice. Yeah. So what's wrong? What's wrong with wrong understanding for our life?
That you can go around hurting everyone, being stingy or being cruel or being a thief, and that nothing will ever happen to you.
Yeah,
You'll
right.
not have any consequences.
See that this is right. And how about this one? Right intention. Why is that? When you have this type of right intention, having goodwill, harmlessness, renunciation, and so forth. Why? What happened with wrong intention? What happened? We can talk about two aspects. Yes.
Your
What?
heart isn't really in it, and you're not going to be able to follow like that.
Intention is so important in every aspect of life. Right? And when you are father, a mother here, you know, right? Sometimes you yell to your children, right? Sometimes you have younger children or bigger one?
I'm a teenager. She's 17.
Teenager or still talk?
Yeah.
Is that right? Sometimes when they were young, right? You told them to have time out and so forth, right? So, is it because you don't like them? You hate them? No.
Good intentions.
You have good intention to train them to become a good person. Does it make sense? So sometimes you yell, sometimes you give them hard, like tell them to have time out, or
Take the car keys.
yeah, take the games away and so forth. It doesn't mean that you don't like them, you don't love them, you feel love them. But you're right, you have good intention. Later on we talk about right action, right? Intention is so important. Sometimes, right, all the teachers, professors, because the professor remind you, right, you wake up, right? Someone remind us, someone give us some kind of warning, so that we can wake up, so that we can be aware of things around us. Because sometimes we don't pay attention much, but they have good intention. I remember my professor at University of the West, his field talk. You know, in his syllabus, he mentioned that, and of course he's real in class too. The first class, the first day of the class, he said, well, if I hear your cell phone, I take off 5% from this way. It's real talk. Of course, the one there to turn on the cell phone. Plus, when we write the paper, you can say, repeat it. But anyway, this is very helpful for us to be careful about our writing, about action, and so forth. Sometimes we say we may not like that type of person, right? But they have good intention, good will. Even the action, even the speech is quite hard. So right intention is so important, right? So let's say if someone commits some crimes, right? They have to have the evidence for prosecutors, right? To prosecute that person, right? To see whether they have intention or not. If they don't have intention, this may be less with a judgment, right? Maybe lesser, right? Otherwise, maybe great. So intention is so important in any aspect of life, in anything that you do. Is that clear enough? Right. So again, we talk about right intention. Whenever we think anything, well, we do anything. Look at here. Let's say they go hand in hand. Right? Instead of applying law of karma. Right? When you do business, of course, we compete with other people. We know everyone wants to survive. Everyone wants to be winner. Nowadays, you know, right? If you work in the big business, right, like Indiana, right, they have to create what they call win-win situation. They allow the employees to buy stock, right? So that means they would, the employers would have some kind of involvement into the companies. If they work hard and that's make the company grow, they be successful. Make sense now? So, now karma. You understand? Everyone wants to survive. Everyone wants to be successful. Right? And with good intention and goodwill, we have a chance. You understand that? Otherwise, when we harm ourselves, that means, no, sorry, when we harm others, we will harm ourselves. Last week, in my class, at U Columbus, we talked about some people do with math. You do math, right? Part. You know what I'm talking about?
Math?
Yeah, math. The part. They say that in Seymour, some of my students in the class have seen many people come to go to do shopping at Walmart, and they recognize this kind of people by looking at their facial expression or their skin color and so forth. And I say that in court, and I don't pay attention, or I may not know of this type of people. But my point is that people doing drugs, right, selling and so forth. At first, they think that they can get money quick, right? Right? Of course, at the present moment, they get money quick, but they harm others. And in long term, sooner or later, we end up in jail. You see that? Because I want to talk about karma, right? So again, when we talk about right after here, you see the connection. Is this logic? It's logic, right? Okay, then let's move on. So again, this is what wisdom is so important. Because the mind is what? The driver of our life, is that right? Without the mind, we don't know what we're doing. Many people, what's the illness? The illness as the former president, Ronald Reagan, he has what do you call that type of illness? Petition? What do you call the type, that type of illness that they could not remember anything?
Alzheimer's.
Huh?
Alzheimer's? Dementia?
Alzheimer, yeah, Alzheimer, right?
Yeah, Alzheimer's or dementia.
Yeah, that's right. They could not recognize what we're doing. They lost their mind. You understand that? So the mind is so important. And you know, even the handicapped people, if they have strong mind, you see, in the Olympics, right, you see some people, they could drive, right? Yes.
So in Buddhism, there is no God except the individual.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, you say the mind,
Okay,
a person's mind decides their destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. The thought here related to the thought, the mind, whichever thought you use. We will talk more. Actually, let me see here. We talk about that, right? Your views about the God. Remember we talked about that before?
It's like
Right? Last class or last ago, right?
Mhm.
So again, yes. This is important. Thought. or you could say Buddhism is a science of thought, the science of mind. Yes.
But is there, are we speaking of, when we speak of many gods,
Yeah.
we're speaking of, okay, like the person, when you reach nirvana, that person reaches enlightenment, escapes the karmic cycle.
Okay.
Then what does this person become? A Buddha?
Yeah, what we call Buddha. We discussed before, right?
Okay.
And they free, or Arhat, they free to come and go, to have people, like we are free to come and go to the prison to have our prayers there.
Okay.
Remember? Yes.
Yeah, so is the Buddha, is this Buddha a god?
No.
Okay. So now who is the God? Is there many different?
Yeah. We talk about many levels of gods, remember?
Oh, okay, I got
Remember?
you.
In Buddhism we have not single God, what called monotheism, right? We have plural gods. We talk about that, many different level of gods, right? So now we talk about thought here with ourselves. Understand that? The thought in the mind. And so again, the first item, the first category is the wisdom. In this category is the right understanding about life, the law of karma is so important, and they connect each other. And after we understand, and we have that kind of understanding about law of karma, we should apply right intention in every aspect of life. Makes sense now? All right. So the next one, right speech. Yeah, this belongs to morality. Okay, so we have number 3, right speech. What do you have? Yeah.
Well, it kind of goes back to the good intention. Basically, it involves all kinds like talking, texting, any kind of communication.
Texting too. Okay. We have the texting. Yeah,
Just
that's right.
like speaking in a way that you don't hurt feelings, don't lie, don't use deceptive language, no gossiping, or intentionally making people angry with what you say. And the Buddhist reasoning for that is so you don't cause suffering to the people you speak or write to. It doesn't mean you have to withhold your opinion. It just means learning to pay attention to your intentions with what you're saying and deciding if it's going to do more harm than good.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's why I didn't text him. Yeah, good times, you know, they didn't have this kind of technology, right? Yeah, so that's too good, right? Again, I gave you that example, like you have fathers, mothers, right? You may yell to them, right? You may have harsh speech to your children, right? To the younger one, to the teenager one, but because you have good intention, to train them, to remind them, you understand that? So yes, the morality is secondary aspect of our life. This one is the primary one. Wisdom is the primary aspect. Make sense? Right? So without right intention, right understanding of life, you may have good speech, right? You may have good conversation with your friends. You may praise them, right? You know, in politics, okay, say it's a lot of things around, right? Sometimes some politicians may pray order in front of them, but they do behind the screen. Make sense? You understand what I'm talking about? Right? They may provide some bad news about their opponents so that they can defeat them. But when they talk with their opponents, they talk in a nice way. You understand that? But intention is not good. You see that? So intention is so important. And who is in the major of journalism here? No? Oh, you do? Be careful.
Yeah.
Why? Why?
Because it's important.
Yeah, why? Your sentence, right? Your articles might affect many people, right? Whether it's true or not. Is that right? If it's true, right? It is proper you deliver that kind of information to people, and they may be happy, right? If you write wrong one, right? So it's affect too many people, and of course the politicians we're concerned about. We're afraid of journalists, right? Is that right? If they find out some details, mistake from these kind of politicians, right? And their career may be ruined, right? Like actually the problems of the New Jersey governor, you know, right? Anyway, so. Okay, now, so again, anyone does this one? Next speech? Yeah.
Well, I did write a speech, but I think she pretty much summed it up, so she.
Okay. How many?
Just basically, his view is just to speak kindly and, to not hurt anyone else or, to have the right intentions.
Yeah. Yeah. Texting probably in between speech and action too. You sit and text to your friends, right? Email, right? Sometimes, as a monk, sometimes I write. Whenever I write email to someone else, I need to most of the time, not all the time, most of the time I need to double check it. Sometimes we make mistake, make grammatical mistake, and sometimes we could not deliver our thought well. So especially when they deal with the other professors or the important things, I need to be careful. When you write something that make them mad, or if they don't understand your points, do it again. Or sometimes you may not have a chance to do it again. Make sense? So you have to be careful. Okay, again, let's go to draw action. Okay, again, we know this is easy to understand, right? But before draw action, we have, yes?
Right action can be translated as right conduct, and it's to make sure that your actions, or that you don't act or participate in activities that can harm others or yourself. And so no taking of life, no stealing, no illicit sex, and to be mindful of how your actions are only helping others.
Yeah. Right, this one is, right? And it's common sense. And it's the right speech and right action, again, they're secondary. They're secondary items of wisdom. Make sense? Right? Nowadays we have to deal with many people who are in the hacking business. Is that right? They send malicious email, right? You have to be careful, right? To see whether they are friends or not. But somehow they may use your friend's email, right, to hack your email too. So it's still nowadays still complicated. And plus, yes.
When you get a chance, can you? I know we're on this right now. But when you get a chance, can you explain what the book was talking about when everything is made up of atoms and actually all of this is actually nothingness?
Nothingness.
Yeah, nothing, because the atoms.
Can you wait?
Yeah, I can wait.
Sometimes we talk about what called Mahaya philosophy. We talk about emptiness.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's made in keep the interest. Now we talk about this. Please take the quote. Okay, again, the action is so important. And of course, let's generalize all our conduct. Because let's say, what happens when you kill others? Sooner or later, either we be killed, be executed, or have lifetime in jail, right?
Karma.
Yeah, karma. It's a student too, right? When we work in the school and business and so forth, you cheat other people, or you try to steal something, they kick you out. define out as a misconduct too. This is in general. Everyone understand that. You got level solution. You